Without further ado, I'd like to invite Tiago Rocha to the stage. And I believe he's here. Hopefully.
Hello, Nick.
There he is.
Hello.
All right, terrific. Good to see you, Tiago. Tiago is founder of Green Tech America Latina in Brazil, which is an ecosystem focusing on solutions to environmental problems by identifying technologies and connecting them with corporations, government, and investors. And this will be the last presentation of the session, of our session here. But again, rules are the same. Please do type your questions in the Q&A box. Don't hesitate. Do it anytime you want. In more or less 10 minutes or so, we'll get to those. And without further ado, take it away.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Peter. Thank you very much, Nick, and everyone who is hearing me. The responsibility is big. It's the last presentation of the day, and the presentations were great before. But we're going to speak a little bit about technology. And we are working with Green Tech since 4 years. We have been doing a lot in the matter. And of course, I think what we're doing resonates with what people were speaking before and also showing. I will guide you to that. I think if you think about, for example, since we are speaking with people from New York and Peter, and I was thinking, if you really record like from crime rates in 1994 in New York, I think people at that time couldn't imagine that the city was going to be what it is now, right? And I think that we had a long time delay in terms of action for the climate change. Basically, what I'm seeing is the faster change than what happened at that time in New York. So I think when people basically decide to do what they need to do, chase for the solutions, apply the solutions, and of course, implement and make it happen. Things happen fast and change, and the use of the technologies happen fast. So basically, what we're seeing before my presentation, I think resonates with that. And I'm going to give you a few of the numbers that we have. So over the last 3 years, we had more than 800 companies applying to the challenges. So the 3 events that we did digitally, people from 25 countries and different solutions that we have selected and showed to the public in a way that makes me see that, for example, one, people looking to solve their problems and knowing more about the problems, and of course, learning about the solutions is increasing, and is increasing very fast. So basically, it's not that people, hey, I want to do in the way I'm doing. No, it's not really like that. We didn't have, if you think about, a lot of good incentives in the market for changing. And what is really happening 4 years from now, like backwards, is that everything is changing in terms of the dynamics of the market, in terms of what people want, the end customer, in terms of carbon markets, in terms of technology, and in terms of application of that. And thinking about it and basically corresponding to what we were seeing, we decided to build a platform called Green Tech Business. I'm going to show you a little bit here, if I may, which is already live working 24/7 in English, Portuguese, Spanish, and basically what we have been seeing is a big need in terms of helping to educate people. And when I say people, people who need the solutions, and also the entrepreneurs and the companies that are building the solutions. So basically, maybe we are the missing link that Eric was just mentioning in his presentation, but we see there is a challenge for people that sometimes they need I will show something easy here, a simple solution to clean air, and they can't find. So first of all, thanks, Peter, for doing that. We try to do that also because it's not that people really don't want to drive the change, but sometimes what is working? How can I find? How can I implement? Is it really something that works? A lot of questions like that are present every time. And I'm speaking just about someone who has the problem and someone who has the solution to solve the problem. If you think about it, it's very, very hard to find it. I would say in an event like that is much easier. But sometimes the solutions, they are not everywhere in every country. And a lot of the problems, they are similar. So for example, you have one problem with clean air and you have companies from, I don't know, one place in Asia or in Latam or in Europe that can solve this problem. And then those solutions and those technologies, they tend to be scalable. So very good solutions, a lot of times can be applied to more than one place. And we believe that this is very good because if we need to solve the problem and speed up the change, the best is to have technologies that are already working and nobody needs to reinvent the technology everywhere. So this is one thing that we are doing, and we are in our 4th year. We are going to do the next event next November. But this platform is already live. We have companies from several countries already here. And the main objective is to help the ecosystem and help people who need to apply the technology and generate the positive impact. And how we are helping this? The platform by itself is one thing. I can give you the address later here, type. And I think now you're seeing, okay, you see me again. And then basically, I was going to speak also with you a little bit about what I see from financial incentives in the market for the new technologies. Most of the time, what we realize is that people, in order to invest, decide basically using one criteria, return. And what about the mandates of people who take care of the investments? They are incentivized by one thing, return. And therefore, why I always say that the VC industry is not enough to take care of the climate issues and foster the development of green technologies. Because usually when you look only one incentive, and this incentive is a high hurdle because of high risk and because you need to maybe pass the ball quickly, then I think it's hard to develop something that sometimes is tackling to change a problem and to develop a solution in a more sustainable way, which can have impact and return. Therefore, for example, in the platform, what we are doing and what we do since the first event, from application to selection to showcasing, is we take care of the impact first, and we look and we question a lot the companies. What is the problem? What is the solution? What is the ODS? What is the benefit? What is the gain? What the carbon footprint, etc., 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 etc. If you think about solutions that are like very different in impact, they should be very, very different in returns. If they have the same return and the impact is very different, then the situation is easy solution to choose. But usually people don't have the way to question everything and know about the impact footprint. And usually people don't use the two dimensions, they use only one. So sometimes when I think about like going to a place and invest my personal money, I think, hey, what should I do if I go there and they offer me 1% or 2%? For me, I don't care. It's the same. And maybe it could be zero, would be the same for me also. Because in the end, there is no impact and nothing that guarantees that what I'm investing is something that will do good. So our perspective is a little different than that. We think first the impact and measurement of the impact and really looking the technology. Sometimes I don't care if it's early stage or if it's VC or if it's grow or the name we want to give it, but we think, hey, the impact is big, it's getting a solution to a big problem and it's scalable, it's global. So then we think, hey, this is really good and we should invest not only money, because money is not something that always is necessary for all the technologies, but most of the time to apply the technology and solve the problems, and then of course make money with good impact. Therefore, we look in this way, and I'm not sure, I think I'm finishing my time here, Nick, but one of the things that we do, we really work is not on like a VC mode, but we look as an ecosystem that helps to develop the impact solutions, scale the impact, and make the green technologies grow and be applied in several places. So whatever is possible to make easier for people to know the technologies, know the problems, and be able to compare and decide with a good manner for implementation, we are looking to do. So from certificates, from measurements, and like transparency, and give more information so people can be aware of what we are doing. Usually it's not the case when you go to a regular place and you get whatever you are offering. So, well, I have an article that I'm going to share with you in the social media. I can send to Peter today also, and maybe if he can share with people who are watching, is good. And I talk a lot more about it in this article, and I think it's possible to have a lot of cross-country like technology solutions helping problems that are global. Thank you for the opportunity.
Tiago, thanks very much. Terrific conversation. I think you're still sharing your screen. I tried to flip it from my end, but there's probably something you can push there to pop it back. In the meantime, folks who do have questions, now is your chance. That's better to pop those in the Q&A box. We got a couple minutes left to get to them. I can kick it off.
Right? No?
Yeah, looks good. Looks just fine.
Sorry, I was kidding.
Yeah. Tiago, maybe I wondered, we talked a lot about the concept that's going on here. Can you share some success stories with us, perhaps a couple examples of
I can share. There are a lot of examples from green building.
Yeah,
I can tell you, for example, new materials, and then sometimes patents that are, for example, from the past events, never used. And we said, hey, this is revolutionary. Let's help them to make it. And let's like sometimes invite one corporate that we know has a problem, link with the inventor, and then kind of roll the ball like in a production for the first time. One of them, I tell you, was presenting the last year and is related to leather, like remainings. So from all this industry, and is a global industry. and is a big issue. So what do you do with that waste? So you can think about that this would go to landfills and would be a big problem. And now it's different. It goes for like a building material, and then is reused. And I can tell you, for example, technologies that are more like what people sometimes think. And hey, green tech's not so sexy when we were speaking like in the first event, because it's not fintech, because it's not digital. But for example, AI technology for preventing fires. It was a company like selected 3 years ago. They were this size. Now they're taking care of 7 million hectares of land, preventing fires. And well, as I saw in the previous presentation, a lot of fire there. I think it's going to be a big problem with global warming. So several solutions, usually using a lot of technology and sometimes digital, and the sustainable aspect, and in different areas. The way we look, if you look later the platform, what we look is the impact and the problem. So basically, hey, the problem is to clean the air, to clean the water, to reduce the energy consumption, etc., etc., etc. And then we look what solves this problem better. And then sometimes, for example, the solutions, most of the solutions, they have very high tech and components, which sometimes is more physical. A lot of what I heard in the first event was, hey, but this has a component which is like physical. This is really scalable. Yes, it is. And I believe the real world, the physical world is something that is like needing a lot of attention, care, and faster change, well, for the good of everyone.
Excellent. I think we're pretty much about at time. So, oh, we do have one question. Elizabeth just jumped in. She's asking a question relating to Curitiba, Brazil. It was a very good example of a world eco-community depended largely on leadership. Do you also invest in community efforts to fight emissions with human behavior change?
Sorry, what was the question? If I invest in?
Yeah, do you invest in community efforts to fight emissions with human behavior change?
Yeah, I can tell you that, for example, we launched this platform in the way it is in January, because we're doing the event since 3 years. And what we did, basically, the platform is a way to include 800 candidates that we had, not only from Brazil, but from Chile, from Colombia, from Peru, from Europe also. And we have people from US there also. Basically to include everyone there and give the same opportunity for people to find partners and solve problems. So if you think about, we already showed 53 companies to the public in 3 years. And with this size of like candidates, I think we would take a lot of time, 800. So basically the platform was a way to have inclusion first. And then in terms of the question, we are right now doing our first fund to invest in some technologies also, and to help develop those startups. And one of the things we already did was first, like 5 agreements with different institutions. So accelerators, education partners, entrepreneurship partners, all in a way that we can help educate people, because a lot of people want to work in those areas, but sometimes they don't know how to get there. A lot of companies, they want to hire people, but hey, those guys are not trained. What should I do, you know? So basically what we try to do and what we are doing, a lot of agreements with institutions that are able to train people for all this change that is happening and help include more people in the process, and of course help make it work for both sides. Because a lot of times I receive calls, hey, I have 25 places to fulfill, can you help me? I need people, where can I find it, you know? And a lot of companies are growing fast, basically because they are delivering very good products. But a lot of times the new jobs are not easy to find people, recruit, etc. And sometimes they are not only in Brazil or only in US, they are in different places, you know. Every time people are now working more freely.
Thank you very much, Tiago. I believe that is going to wrap us.